So you want to become a graphic designer in 2024. I am here to help you get there. My name is Kelsey. I am a graphic designer. I've been in this industry for almost 10 years. I've worked in a whole variety of settings, and today I'm going to share all the details of these and everything I've learned along the way. I've been making this video for the past few years, every year with the new year, and just sharing each new detail I found as the industry changes and what I would do differently becoming a graphic designer and just the way you could take it to become a graphic designer. I think this industry is growing so quickly. I love being a graphic designer and there's so much opportunity here. I am so excited that you are interested in taking this path. I love talking about graphic design and sharing all the details that I can. So if you have any questions beyond this video, you can always leave the comment down below or message me over on Instagram. I'm always so happy to help. And if you want to jump through any of the chapters in this video, I'll have it labeled down below so you can go and move through as you would like. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started. I feel like I can't start this video without sharing my background. So I went to school for graphic design. I went for a BFA, so I went for 4 years at a local smaller school in the area that I live, and it worked out great for me. It really gave me exposure to a career and just all the different types of design that you can do within the graphic design realm. And that helped me kind of set the path for my career. Within college, I held 4 different internships. I had a few of those that were more of the in-house kind of side, a few that were part of larger teams, smaller teams, and one large one at the end that was a part of agency setting, which was really great experience as well. And then I went on to work at a smaller creative studio. Then I went and did freelance for about 3 years. And then I recently accepted a full-time job again and do a little bit of freelance here and there, but mostly am focused on my full-time job. With that said, I feel like I've learned so much and been exposed to a lot of different areas, and I can definitely help if you are looking at the differences between advertising versus creative studio versus in-house team. This topic is very controversial, I feel like, in the design world. I obviously went the school route, which was great for me because I barely knew what I wanted to do. Going to school helped me learn the foundations of design. I had to do a lot of art courses, learn a lot about just structure and color theory and history in design, which overall helped me get into the design realm and be a better designer in the long run. It also gave me exposure to the different types of design that I could do. So I had classes that were in UX design, print design, packaging design, web design, development, just everything in between. And I was able to kind of hone in on what I liked best and what I was most drawn to. And that's not to say that you can't do those things for being self-taught as well. I think self-taught just takes a lot more motivation because you need to seek out the path that you want to go. But I definitely think that you could be a great designer by being self-taught. There are so many great designers that actually share their courses for becoming a designer. And I can always link some down below. Or again, if you want to message me, I can send you some of my favorites as well. Or there are just online institutions that do smaller graphic design courses. It really just depends on how you want to take your career in the long run. So having a graphic design degree will help you get in to just different settings. A lot of jobs will require that BFA or just a 4-year degree. So maybe you already have that degree, but you're adding design on top of it. But a lot of those do look for it as you're starting out. But if you are looking to just be a freelancer primarily, then you can totally be self-taught. It's just all going to come down to your portfolio, which is the next section. Portfolio is so important. You can do this in a variety of settings, but basically creating a strong portfolio is how you will land your graphic design job. We're bouncing around a little bit here, but portfolios can be created in many different ways. You can do it on the platform Behance, where you post your projects as you create them. It's free and it's connected to Adobe, which is amazing, so you can go ahead and use that platform. Or you can go ahead and create your own website. That's what I've always done. Or you can do things like creating an Instagram, which is also what I have. Instagram has been great for creating my own client base and also keeping me up on my portfolio, and then just having new design tips and tricks or just little design graphics that I can make and share constantly and be constantly updating. Compared to website, it's a whole bigger process. If you do want to go the website route, I use Squarespace for my website. It's been great and I would recommend it. Showit is another great website platform to look into, and that one just is overall beautiful and it's more adaptive to what you might want to do. And Wix is also another great inexpensive option if you are looking for that. You can also just create regular PDFs too if you want to jump into your portfolio and share it that way. I know I just threw a lot of different programs at you, so let's go ahead and dive into equipment. Equipment is so important, obviously, when it comes to graphic design, since you are going to need a great laptop. I use a MacBook Pro. I use a larger 16-inch, but you could do 13-inch as well. It's just really important, I think, to use a MacBook Pro. I've always done that in my graphic design career, and it's just really compatible with Adobe, which Adobe is the software that you will need for graphic design. They actually have a series of different items. So of course, I feel like people usually think of Photoshop when they hear graphic design. That's within the Adobe Creative Suite. I use that throughout my job and my daily life, but I use Illustrator probably the most, which is a great vector-based tool. I also use Adobe XD, which is great for creating digital elements and laying out multiple series. It's also great if you're going to get into app design or maybe more of just that general UX realm. And then I also use InDesign for laying out different lookbooks and just creating booklets and things like that that are more along those longer materials. And I also use Adobe Premiere for editing videos, which can also be used within the graphic design realm. And I use Lightroom as well for editing imagery and diving into just everything. There's so many different programs in Adobe, but I would definitely recommend, if you're gonna get started with any, I would use Illustrator. That's probably my top one if you can only purchase one. Then I would probably consider doing Photoshop. Then I would probably consider XD and then InDesign. Again, it's just really going to determine where you want to take your graphic design career. Illustrator is great if you're going to be online and in the digital space. Photoshop is great for editing photos, obviously, and just using more of that space. XD is more for those user experience components. The only program that I use and that might be worth investing in that is not a part of the Adobe suite is Procreate, which is completely what I used on my iPad. I use an iPad Pro for this and an Apple Pencil, of course, and that helps me to create different content and actually draw out my sketches. Now, I didn't purchase an iPad until I was much further into my graphic design career, because you can do a lot of sketching just on pencil and paper and transferring it over to your computer. So it's not necessary, but if you think that you are going to be in more of that artistic graphic design world where you are drawing out sketches, you're creating illustrations, maybe you're creating a lot of patterns, then an iPad might be a great investment for you. Okay, let's talk about job types and specialties. I look at being graphic design as a few different areas that you can really go into. You can work on an in-house team, which is just working for one certain brand. That is what I do right now. And you just really get to know that brand, you know it super well, and you just work on all of their different brand assets. So for a regular day for me, I'm working on a lot of email campaigns. I'm working on a lot of just digital promotions that we're doing. Ads will be running and homepage changes, just website content that needs updating on our website. I work on a lot of lookbook layouts as well. I work for a clothing design company, so it's a little different on the content that we're doing, but I have my hands in a little bit of everything. I go on to the photo shoots in my daily career and help bring those onto our online content, get those preps for having our clothing look as well as it can to be matched up to the correct product, and I do a lot of assets for social media as well. Now, I have worked at a creative studio and advertising studio. Those are very similar work from the experience that I have, but what it comes down to is that you have multiple different brands that you're working on. This was really great for me when I was just starting out because it gave me exposure to a variety of different clients and how to work with different clients and prepare just decks and presentations and proposals and just have my feet wet in all different types of industries. I did find it to be more intense. It's going to be much more time intensive because you are going to be answering to clients and you are going to be having to hit a lot of deadlines. We're working in-house, you have a little bit more flexibility because you are part of the team, you're working directly with them, and they know what's on your plate and how to manage your workload. Either way, they are both great areas to enter into, but the last one that I want to talk about is being a freelance graphic designer. I was a freelance graphic designer, I still kind of am a little bit, but of course this isn't my full-time career or job right now, but I did love being a freelance graphic designer. You have a lot of great clientele that you can get. I mostly did that through social media and word of mouth on gaining clients, and that really helped me just create a foundation for my career. And it's just really fun because you get to kind of pick and choose who you want to work with and who aligns with you as a business, with your creative sets, and you can make that foundation of the creative route that you want to go and do for graphic design. It also gives you a lot of flexibility in your life and your career to just be a freelancer because you can work whenever you want to be working. The main downside with being a freelancer, though, is that you are constantly giving proposals. You're not sure who you're going to work with. You have a whole variety of individuals that you work with and just overall. But I think freelance is a great career path if that's something that you want to go into, and I do think it is growing because people want freelancers. They want contractors and they want to have that flexibility in their team to have someone just come on to help with a few tasks. So I can make a whole video that dives into freelance. I have before, so I would just search through my videos and see if there are any applicable. If you have any questions though, again, I'm always so happy to help. Let's talk about landing that job. I think it can be pretty difficult to land your first design job. It comes down to your portfolio really on how you get that job. And so again, creating an awesome portfolio is really great, but also networking is really important as well. You can do this through LinkedIn, you can do this through Instagram, and basically just connecting with as many designers as you can. This is also great for local groups. I live in Minneapolis, and so there are a lot of great groups within the city here. I would look into that if I were you, and you can also just join a lot of online groups. So there are different ones through Facebook you can join. I've gained clients that way, met other individual designers that way, and just created relationships to make this industry feel a little less lonely. And I would also recommend looking into mentorship programs. So I have had a mentor before and it was wonderful, so great. It really helped me as I was landing different jobs and helping me negotiate and what was normal and what to expect and the path to create from there. So I would definitely see if you have any local communities that would provide a mentorship. And if you don't, you can always reach out to designers that you admire and aspire to be and see if they'd ever be interested in being a mentor. Sometimes graphic designers also share different office hours so that you could connect with them and ask them exact questions for a certain fee and just completely pick their brain. That's always another great way to go if you are just looking for exposure and experience and just a way to understand this industry. And that's a brief rundown on becoming a graphic designer in 2024. I hope this video helps you. If you have any questions, again, I am more than happy to answer them. I think you can totally do it. Graphic design is a growing industry. It's a great place to be, I think, and it provides a lot of flexibility in your life and can be pretty fulfilling. So I would definitely consider being a graphic designer, taking this path to do it, and just making the most of it along the way. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it to the end, I would love to hear if you are a graphic designer, if you're pursuing graphic design degree, or if you're just starting out and figuring out what you want to do as a graphic designer. Feel free to comment that down below. I will see you in my next video, and good luck with your graphic design career.